everyone, welcome to day 1 of our playlist 1, which is Selenium WebDriver using Python and PyTest. First of all, I would like to thank each and everyone watching this video because it means you have finally joined this journey with me. So thanks. So today we are going to cover module 1 of playlist 1, which is manual testing, automation and Selenium basics. So guys, there are some ground rules which I need to inform you before starting it. Also, if anyone is new or watching this the first video from my channel, then I would like to recommend you guys to first watch my previous or the very first video on my channel to get to know what exactly these playlists are on the or the roadmap that we are going to follow this entire SDET journey. Okay, so and I'm excited to have you all here. Whether you are completely beginners, non-IT background, or just starting automation, today we'll cover everything from what is software to why Selenium in a very simple English. You can access these notes from the link given in the descriptions with all key points typed live on the screen. If any doubt comes, or if you guys are facing any issues related to access of this Google Docs, then please feel free to put it in the comment section. I'll reach out to each and everyone. Drop it in the comments. I'll make short videos to clear them. So in this entire journey, I'll be using a 3 level example over these and further videos, where level 1 will be considered as a beginner level example, then intermediate, and lastly advanced. So without wasting any time, let's begin. What is a software? First, let us understand what software at all is. Software is nothing but it is a set of programs or an application that performs specific tasks automatically. Software makes manual work faster and less error prone. Without software, everything would be done on paper or manually. Now, let me explain this with 3 levels so freshers can also understand it easily. First comes the level 1. Here, imagine a washing machine is there at your home, and you put the dirty clothes inside, and then you press a few buttons and it washes, it rinses and spins them automatically. So the invisible brain inside that make it work without you washing by hand, right? So that is a software. See in this image. Next, let me describe this with using level 2 example uh, here, which is basically a Flipkart website. Okay, so take a example of a Flipkart, which is a e-commerce website. When you search, for example, red t-shirt, you type the red t-shirt and you search it, it shows all the matching products. It can get added to the cart. After that, it calculates the price and then it processes the payment. It does it all automatically using their shopping software. Without this software, staff would manually search inventory or on paper, and then it calculate the bill. So let's come to the level 3 example. So let's assume there is a real project going on a software company like TCS or Infosys. So let's say there is a client which is a bank, and they says they need a net banking application. Now the team builds the software where user logs in, it checks the balance by fetching from the database automatically. Then it transfers money by updating the accounts instantly. And it can also download the statement as PDF. So this full system runs 24 into 7 for millions of users. Well, now let's see what is software testing is. Software testing is the process of finding defects or bugs in the software before it reaches to the customer. So when let's assume when you buy any product, what you guys expect? You expect the quality, right? Similarly, clients expect bug-free software because they pay money for it. So testing verifies if the software works exactly as per the customer requirements. Developers build it and the testers check it. This happens before the delivery. So the goal is to find maximum bugs so developers can fix them early. Before we dive into testing, let's understand how software is actually built inside a real company. So this is super important for the freshers because you need to know where QA fits in the big picture. It all starts with the client. They come with requirements. Let's say they inform to a company, or let's say they are saying we want an application or the website that does this and this. Sometimes they give us ready screen designs in Figma or Adobe anywhere, and if they and sometimes if they don't provide it, so they ask our UI/UX designer to create beautiful user friendly screens. Then the business analyst or the BA talks deeply with the client. They write clear requirements document, what exactly should work, how it should behave, all these things. Then comes the project manager who takes these requirements and plans, like how many people or how much time or how much budget. They track daily progress and they talk with the client. Next comes the software architect who designs the big picture, like what technologies that we are going to use to build that software, how different parts will connect with each other, how the database structure will look like, etc. Next, the lead developers who guides the coding team. So there will be front end developers and the back end developers. So front end developers build what users sees and click, like the button, pages, or animations. And the back end developers, they build the logics, APIs, and the database connections that make everything work behind the scenes. Then comes the QA testers. That's us, who test everything to find bugs and ensure it meets the requirement. Finally, DevOps deploys the tested software to the servers so users can access it live. Throughout this, there are many meetings, demos, and estimations. So this feature will take 3 days, need two developers, for example, all these things. So client pays based on these estimates. Now, there is an important note for the freshers. Not every project has all these roles. So in some small startups might have one developer doing front end and back end both, and in some big companies they have some specialists. This is the standard flow which I have explained right now, but it varies by company size and project type. Well, now there are two main types of companies in a software department. One is service based companies like Infosys, TCS, Accenture. So, what they do is they build softwares for different clients as projects. One month they build banking app for bank A, let's say. Next month, e commerce for company B. So, like this, it goes on. And as a tester here, you see many different domains like banking, healthcare, shopping, etc. Next, the type of company we have is product based companies like Joho, Freshworks, Google. So they build their own product and they sell and improve it for many customers. Example, Joho builds its CRM software and sells to thousands of companies. So as a tester here, you master one product deeply over years, right? So understanding this helps you know where you fit as a QA and what happens to ask in the interviews. So basically what, you have to understand this because it will help you to know where exactly you are getting fit into the roles as a QA. And whatever the questions, in the interviews it will be asking if you know this concept, then you can easily answer to them. Well, now let's speak about manual testing. So manual testing is when we test software completely by hand without any automation tool. As a manual tester, your job is to act like a real user who follow the steps and check if everything works correctly. So let me explain the complete manual testing process using one simple feature, that is login page of a banking app. So we will see all the documents used by testers. Now All these document templates will be available in the link under the video descriptions. You can view from there. Before we go further, let me explain these three super important terms with crystal clear examples using our login page from banking applications. So, freshers, you can write this down. They come in every interview. Well, the first thing is test case. So, a test case is like a recipe you follow exactly, plus what good result you expect. It's a written in Excel or some testing tools. So a simple example, let's say a login, a valid, I mean a positive login flow. So users open the browser, go to the URL, they enter the username and the password, and then click on submit button. What is the expected result here? Here the user lands on the home page or the dashboard page without any errors, and the actual result is you have to after you perform a testing, you have to enter the actual result as well, whether you are getting the final result as expected, or it is changed, or you are getting any error for it, all these things. Now, next thing is test data. So test data are the real inputs you type during testing. Without good test data, you may miss the bugs. For example, in our login case, here the valid test data will be the correct username and the correct password. Then invalid test data would be incorrect username or incorrect password, or incorrect username and correct password, and vice versa. Next, there are some of the edge cases. Edge cases means you might miss few of the scenarios which a normal eye cannot catch, but yeah, when you deep dive, when you have a very good product knowledge, then you can easily capture it. For example, in our login case, some of the edge cases would be a username, keep it as a blank, do not enter anything, and enter the password, and then check it, click on submit, and then check whether it is taking it, or whether you are able to navigate to the login page or the dashboard page, or is it throwing any error. Now, the third thing is test environment. So test environment is a copy of the real app, but with fake data or the servers. Why? Because so that you don't break real customers money. So let me tell you, when a bill gets generated for the tester to test it, at the very first time you will get it in a separate environment, which we call it as a QA environment. So you won't get directly to test it on the production means the applications which the real time users are utilizing it, I mean using it. So you won't get the production environment to test, right? Because if the bug is there, then what's the use of testing it? So before moving it to production, we have something different environment, we call it as a test environment or QA environment. So you will get a URL in case of web application, or a version or an APK for the testing environment, where you need to perform your testing and catch out all the bugs and then fix it, ask the developer to fix it. Then once it is fixed, it after the confirmation, it will be pushed to the UAT environment. UAT environment is nothing but it's a user acceptance testing. That means the client testing. So the client who has asked you to asked your team to build the software, so they are the one who is going to test on the UAT environment, and sometimes the QA also need to do it. And once after this approval, finally your app will released in a production environment, and there also you need to perform a one round of testing, so that to make sure it doesn't break anywhere. So I hope you guys have understood about the environment, test environment thing. So production is the real app with live users and the real money is invested in that. Test environment is the fake server and test users like a test user. Well, now I will walk you through the complete 10-step manual testing process using one real example, that is login page of a banking app. At the end, I will show you three actual documents that real testers use every day. All templates are viewable from the descriptions. So let's go step by step. First, we read the requirement documents. So here it is. So you can see here, it says user enters the username, or the email. Then user enters the password. If it is a valid credentials, it should navigate the user to the home page. If it's a invalid credentials, a error message should display on the screen, and it should not allow the user to log in. And then if it is a wrong attempts more than 5, then the account should get logged for 15 minutes. So let's try to understand each and every point here. So the very first requirement, it says user user enters username or email. So user can log in with either username or email address. Next is using the valid credentials. So correct combinations of username and email and the password should be provided. Next is home page. So user, once if it is a successful login, the user should be allowed to go to the dashboard page. And if it is an error message, the specific text should be prompt on the screen telling the user what is wrong about the use. Is it wrong with the username, or is it wrong in the password? Then 5 wrong attempts, that means exactly 5 failed login tries. If user failed the 5 login tries, then the account will get locked for 15 minutes. User cannot log in exactly for 15 minutes. Well, now let us see what is a test plan. So, test plan is the roadmap for entire testing. Here you can see the document name, which we can put it as the official title. Here in our case, we have made it as test plan login functionality. Next is the project name. You can see user authentication system, which is the entire login system. Next we have module, the login, which is specific feature which we are testing. Then we have prepared by the tester name. We have the version naming also. Here first official version of this test plan. This is. Then we have objectives. So what we objective is all about what we are going to achieve. Here we have to verify the login with valid credentials. We have to verify the error message for invalid credentials. Then we have to verify account lock after 5 valid attempts. And also we have to verify the account unlock after 15 minutes. Next we have is scope, in scope and out of scope. What does this mean is whatever the scope, whatever the things that we can cover inside our testing are are that comes under in scope, and whichever task we can't perform, which is not valid, I mean which is not possible for a tester to perform, are mentioned inside out of scope. So in scope, in our case, we will be mentioning about the username and email validation, where we will be doing the format checking. Then password validation, so by giving input with different length and using special characters in the password field. Then successful and log and failed attempt, I mean failed login attempt, which will be covered as a happy path plus error path. Then account lock and unlock logic, that means the 5 attempts security phase. Now in out of scope is what we won't test. It saves times, right? So here we are not going to test the password reset feature, the MFA, which we call as multi-factor authentication, which was not included in the requirement. We are not going to check for the captcha, which is a bot protection. We are not going to perform any type of performance testing, or we call it as a speed or load testing, because it was not there mentioned in the requirement. Then comes the test environment. So it says where the testing happens. For example, the operating system. In our case, I have mentioned is Windows 10. It also says in which of the browsers are we going to perform this. So if it is a web application, you definitely need to perform on the browser, right? So in our case, the browsers we are going to use is Chrome and Firefox, and obviously the environment which I've already explained to you. In our case, it is QA environment. Next comes is entry criteria. What is entry criteria? It is like it must be true before testing begins. So in our case, once the application is deployed and it is accessible for the QA people to test it, then we can make our entry, we can begin the process of our testing. This is what entry criteria is. That is, next is exit criteria. So it says it must be true to stop the testing. So in our case, all the critical test cases executed and defects are closed, then we can exit from our testing. And last, inside the test plan, we okay, we have covered all the part, right? Okay, so there are three deliverables, right? One is test plan, which I have explained you. Next is test cases, and the last one is bug report. In most of the companies, these three are the major thing a manual tester prepare the document for. But in some companies, they do more. They want some of the matrices and many much thing. They use some of the test management tools like Bugzilla, so which, you just need to map your test cases over there, and you need to execute it cycle wise. Then once execution is done, all the pass fail results along with the QA metrics, all things will be displayed in the form of graph if you are using that particular test management tool. But in our case, we are going to show only through Excel sheet. Next is test cases. So designing the test cases, right? So in our case, we are going to design a 50 detailed scenarios in an Excel. So in most of the companies nowadays they provide access to some standard test case management tools like Bugzilla, as I said, and many more. So here, let us open the test case. Yeah. So here you can see the columns. The very first is test case ID. It is a unique code like TC underscore L underscore 001, which where L stands for login. In case of, if it is a logout or add to cart, then in case of add to cart, you can mention it as TC underscore ATC add to cart in a short form way. Yeah, similarly. Next is feature. Here in our case, the feature is login, what we are testing, right? Next is category. So there are different types of category of test cases, like positive. Here in our case, if you see test case, the very first one 001 and 002, these are positive test cases because they work with the valid data works. Next is negative. So positive, negative, edge case, security, functional, performance, cross browser, mobile, all these are different, uh, you know all these are different types of test cases. So next column is test case title. Here, this is just a short name like a valid login with email. We can use a short name here, what we are going to test. Descriptions is the best thing here because it will tell you it will tell everyone that what this test verifies. So so for example, the one who has not written this test cases is going to read this document for the first time, so they can easily understand, right? It should not make it them complex to understand. Now, next is precondition. So setup is needed here before the test. So user, let's say in our login case, user must be already, they have signed up to that particular website, and they should have got access for that signed up email. So this is our precondition in our case. So user must exist in the database. Next is test steps. So 1, 2, 3, all these numbered actions tester performs. So what you have to do in the very first step, second step, third step, similarly. Next is test data. So exact values which you are going to type, or which you are going to use it in your testing. All these. In our case, it is the email which you are going to log in with. Next is expected results. So what should happen when you do perform this action, right? So this is expected results. Actual result is what tester will feel after running test. Next is status, which is basically a pass, fail, hold, anything it can be, based on the execution, based on the results, execution results. Next is remarks. So it is nothing but is a like it is a kind of notes, like critical test cases, all these things, right? Now let us jump to test environment setup. So as I have already explained you what is the environment, test environment. So it is nothing but it's a queue environment. It is separate server from production. Why? Because bug won't affect real customers. Now, now let's see how the execution, I mean, how the text cases gets executed. Now let's say the tester runs all these 50 test cases one by one. So for each, they need to follow the steps, they need to enter the data, they need to compare expected versus actual and mark it as pass or fail. So here in our case, you can see from the matrix that the results are 50, 17%, I mean 17 passed out of 50, which is 80%, 85% pass percentage, and 3 failed, which is 15% failed, and the bugs are finally found. So let us deep dive more into the bug report summary. So here you can see this is the bug summary report which I created for this login test, where so when test fail, we need to create this. Even if the test doesn't gets failed, then also we need to create this, so that the all these stakeholders should be knowing, should be aware of how was the testing done, how was the testing, what was the result. So you know, uh, let's let's deep dive into this. We should not waste any more time. So the very first thing here is executive summary. It's a high level overview of this report. Now then comes the project name. Here in our case, the banking app user authentication. Next comes is module, which is login functionality. Then the version, which is 1.0. Then the test period, from when did you start and when did you end it. Next is by whom it was prepared, and also along with the status, whether the testing got failed, if any critical issues were found, or everything was perfect. Okay, let's see this key metrics table. Here it says the total test cases executed was 20, total test case passed is 17, total the test case failed is 3, and the pass rate is 85%, and the critical bugs found is 1. So basically this key metrics table is the number that matters. So here let's see the severity first. So for the bug which I have logged in here in my bug summary report, it says the account lock mechanism is not working. The severity is critical, obviously, because it's a highest danger, and the priority is high because it should be fixed immediately. Then the test case ID, here is the test case number 23 and 24, which are getting affected, I mean which are getting failed, and the description says fails to lock after 5 wrong attempts. The steps to produce all these 6 number steps with exact data I have provided here. Expected and actual output, what was the expected and what is the actual output we are getting, how it is impacting, where it is impacting, and in which environment we have tested this. Also we have to provide some of the screenshots or the logs in the attachment section. Now what is severity and priority? Okay, severity is how bad is the bug. Like, there are 3 types of severity: critical, high, medium. Now critical means the system gets break and the security risk is high. In that case we can consider it as a critical. High means high severity means when major functionality breaks. Medium is when there is some kind of usability issues. So I hope you guys got the difference between severity and priority. Severity is how bad is the bug. Priority is how urgent to fix. Next step which comes here is the developer fix and the retest done by the QA. So once all these bugs has been addressed to the developer, developer will start working on this. They will basically try to fix this, and once it is fixed, they will ask the QA to perform again a retest on this, and the QA retest using the same test cases, and now this time if it works, they will mark it as passed. Otherwise again, uh, it will be assigned back to the same developer who worked on it if it is failing. And then the QA will update the bug report status to close if it is working. If it is not working, they will have to change the update the status to reopen. At last comes the regression testing. So again, the run we have to run all the 50 test cases again to ensure fixes didn't break the other things, right? Sometimes what happen, if the developer fixes something, some bug in the login page, let's say, then it may get affect, or it may get affect to the other features. I mean, what I'm saying is, maybe let's say the add to cart functionality can break. Just take an example. If what I'm saying is, if login page, if the developer has fixed a bug inside a login page, then it may get break, something may get break in the add to cart or the logout page also. So because of that, to ensure everything is correct, we need to perform a regression testing. Then the last thing is the sign off and release. So as I said, whenever the exit criteria met, we can sign the test plan and we can release it to the production. And we can mark the final status as all the test cases executed and defects are closed. All right, let's start with the big question, that is, why move from manual testing to automation? So manual testing has real challenges. It's incredibly time consuming and relies heavily on human effort. So think about repeating the same login test 50 times a day on a banking application, like entering the credentials, clicking buttons, checking for errors like invalid credentials after 5 login attempts, and verifying the account logs for 15 minutes. So each cycle drains hours, and as the project grows to multiple pages of browsers, it becomes unsustainable. Here, automation flips this around by cutting time dramatically and minimizing the human involvement. Here's how. In manual testing, you read a test case in English, like open the login page, input test user at the bank.com, enter password 123, click on login button, confirm dashboard loads, which execute it by hand and manually compare expected result to what you see. But with automation, you transform that English descriptions into code that a tool understands and run flawlessly every time. The tool opens the applications, performs actions, verifies outcomes, and reports pass or fail, all without you lifting a finger after the initial setup. But why does this require programming? Tools like Selenium don't speak English. They need precise instructions in a language like Python, Java. So your role as an automation tester is to translate manual steps into scripts. For example, type email become will become a driver dot find email find underscore element by ID or email, and then send keys will become a click. Then write it once, and it is the automation is like write it once and it will run it endlessly. So it will run it on demand, nightly or across 100 data variation from an Excel sheet. So this slashes effort because test data pulls automatically from files using libraries like OpenPixel, and the execution happens in seconds. So the payoff, what is a massive efficiency here? So run hundreds of tests overnight. It will catch the regressions instantly, like a new code change breaking logging. Then it can generate logs and screenshots for proof, and it can focus your energy on creative testing. So it's a one time investment that pays forever, especially for repetitive scenarios like form validations, security checks, and cross browser consistency. All right, so now let's meet Selenium. Think of it as your friendly robot assignment for testing websites. So it is completely free and the number one choice for beginners like us. Selenium is not only single thing, it is like a toolbox with three main parts. First is the Selenium IDE. So this is a super easy recorder, like pressing record on your phone video. Second is WebDriver. This is the powerful engine for real coding, and this is what we'll use mostly. And the third is Grid. So this runs tests on many computers at once, like like a teamwork mode. So let me give a quick history of, so that you can understand the versions. So Selenium started in 2004 as version 1.x. So this had basic tools like IDE, RC, and Grid. Then version 2.x got smarter. It added WebDriver in it and replaced the old RC for better speed. Then comes version 3.x, like 3.141.59 for Python. It's super stable. So it works perfectly with Chrome and Firefox. Now version 4.x beta is coming with cool new extras like easier Chrome setup. So what does Selenium love? Its superpowers. It handles websites in any browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Edge. So everywhere it will be only one code which will work for all. So it runs on any computer like Windows, Mac or Linux. It uses your favorite language. Python is the easiest for all the beginners. Selenium is honest about its weakness. So this will help you not to get stuck. So first is it is web only, great for banking login pages, but for notepad or desktop applications you add a helper called robot API. For phones, team up with APM for mobile applications. So for testing the mobile applications we need a tool called APM. We need to learn it so that we can test the mobile applications. Second is it has no fancy extras built in. For reports, we need to add PyTest. So this makes pretty charts. For Excel data, we add OpenPixel. So this reads your test data file. For graphs or captchas, it skips those. So because of its tricky design, the captchas and the graphs are very tricky in the design. So Selenium doesn't works with that. So captcha blocks boards for security. Third, for fancy websites like Angular or React, it uses helpers. Protector or Cypress works well there, not the Selenium. So let us summarize versions super simply. Version 1.x was baby Selenium with all basics. Version 2.x added muscle when WebDriver was born. Then version 3.x is the adult version. Then version 4.x is the future upgrade in beta testing now. So your first steps starts tomorrow. I mean, not tomorrow. The next video, whenever it will be coming. So we'll see how we can download the Selenium.dev, and it is free as I said, and we'll also install the Python version using some pip commands like pip install Selenium. We'll also grab some Chrome driver that matches our Chrome browser. And okay, and that's it. And yeah, so we have I think we have covered much ground today on manual testing with our banking login example. From requirements to test plans, we saw the 50 Excel test cases, the bug reports, and now automation with Selenium. So guys, whatever manual testing concepts I gave you is enough to jump now into automation. You have the foundation to start scripting logins, then handling 5 attempt logs and verifying password masking. But from interview perspective, it is not enough for a manual tester to crack the interview. Companies like TCS and Infosys expect deeper knowledge. So what I'm doing is I'm attaching a link for complete manual testing questions. This is mandatory for automation testers too because SDET roles test both worlds. So I didn't explain it all here because it would make my video 4 to 5 hours long. So link is here. Also I'll ping it in the description. Nothing apart from this can be asked in the first round of manual testing, automation testing or SDET interviews. Go through the 3 templates that I showed you plus this link which will make you interview ready. See you all in the next video which will be our Selenium hands-on. Till then keep revising test cases and bug reports. Like, subscribe, comment your doubts below. Signing off.